All right, we are back with the second of 13 interviews with this year's Small Business of the Year Award finalists. And so today I'm joined, or right now I'm joined by Heather and Christie from Restlawn Memorial Park. They are a finalist for the Small Business of the Year Award in the Business to Consumer category. And so Heather, Christie, if you would, please introduce yourselves and share what your position is with Restlawn and any other information you'd like to sort of throw in there at the beginning here.
Well, my name is Heather Carlson. I am the office manager of Restlawn. I have been with the company for going on 7 years now.
It's awesome. Yes, and we're happy to have her. And my name is Christie Toson. I am the president and owner of Restlawn Memorial Park, and fourth generation of my family to be in the cemetery world and be affiliated with Restlawn now for 2 generations.
Great. And so I've got some standard questions, and we might go off script here and talk about some other things too. But first off, I guess just tell me about your business. I mean, I know people around Wausau are probably pretty familiar with what it is that you do, but just tell me about your business and maybe something that the public isn't aware of.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question, because I know that you say that most people know what we do, but there's actually most people have no idea what we actually do. So certainly memorializing and burying deceased bodies is at the core of what our business does then as well. But we look at it as so many different ways to be contributing to the community and having a place for memories and for history and making sure that we're saying a very nice final goodbye. And our team helps us do that and helps the communities that we serve to have that final goodbye in a very positive situation when it's not a positive situation at all, really.
And so I guess the to talk about the you just put that very well, but to talk about the process of becoming a finalist for the Small Business of the Year Awards, just so everybody out there who's watching understands that the businesses are nominated confidentially, and then they have the opportunity to complete an application. And if they complete the application, then they become a finalist. And so that application forces you to kind of look at your history and a lot of different aspects of your business. And a lot of times what we hear from finalists is that process opens their eyes a little bit in terms of learning maybe something about their business that they had either forgotten or they weren't aware of. Was there anything, as you went through that process of applying to be a Small Business of the Year Award finalist, was there anything in that process that kind of surprised you or that you learned about your business?
Well, me personally, just going over that, and I think the community as a whole does not realize there is an anti-combo law, meaning that funeral homes cannot be owned by the same person who owns a cemetery. So there's a lot of misconception that you can go to one place and it's a one-stop shop. And unfortunately, in the state of Wisconsin, that is not a possibility. So that is where we come into play to try to make it as easy as possible to get everything that you possibly can from a one-stop place. So unfortunately, there still is a need for that funeral home, but we try to make it as easy as possible to come here first and get that taken care of.
Great. And so, you know, another thing that we hear from finalists when they're going through this process is it's an opportunity for them to recognize either individuals or other businesses that may have played a significant role in kind of their success as a business. Is there anybody that you'd like to recognize in that way as we're talking here?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of times this really comes to, first of all, our team and the Restlawn team that keeps everything going. And so this isn't a business that is for everybody. And certainly when we find that we bring people in from non-cemetery or funeral world, it does get in your blood and you really see that it helps with everybody. So we've got a great team at Restlawn. But beyond that, the families that we serve really give us a lot of feedback and help us become better, even when we possibly make mistakes as we go along. We find ways to be able to learn from that and serve them better, even though we don't even recognize that we're doing something that can be improved on. I think when you're dealing with death, it's an area where it just really needs to be focused on differently, and a lot comes out from that. So the families that we serve really help us grow and continue to be getting better every single day.
You talk about bringing other people from other lines of work into your business. Given the difficult sort of conversations that you have to have with people, what's the one piece of advice that when you bring somebody from outside in to be one of your employees, what do you sort of advise them to keep in mind as they're speaking to your customers?
Oh, that's a great question. And I think just reminding them every single family is working with us a lot of times at the single worst day of their life. And don't forget that even if we're having a bad day or we're having a situation, that family doesn't care. They just lost their loved one. And we need to remember to always keep that in perspective and making sure that the families that we serve come in first. So empathy is huge. We use that word constantly in our profession, is that you have to be empathetic. You have to put yourself in that family's shoes and really take a step back at what they're going through at that moment.
And that makes a lot of sense. And Heather, I know the Wausau location, the Restlawn Memorial Park in Wausau, you do some unique, there are some things that happen there that are, at least I think, are unique. And if you could talk about that. I know I saw in your application when I was pulling together some of the copy that we use for at the actual program next week, that I know, the Restlawn Memorial Park is open to the public, right? And there were some unique aspects to that.
Yeah, so in regards to our public outreach, it's very important for us to have good community relations and reach out to the community, because oftentimes they don't want to reach out to us unless they have to. So it's important for us to support things such as the arts and music and bring families out here. I've said it before, sometimes it might be the first time they're out here, and we always don't want that to be because you've had someone pass. We want you to come out here and see what the park has to offer. It is a park, and we want to make sure that aspect of it is brought to the community. It's not just a place for mourning. It can be, and it is, and we do honor that also, but we do want the community to come out and see the different aspects of the park.
Great. Well, Heather, Christie, thank you for joining me. Is there anything else you'd like to add before I wrap things up?
Well, I think we're completely honored to be as a finalist in the Wausau community. I've always admired the Wausau Chamber tremendously. I think all of my team has heard me say that. We do belong to chambers throughout the state at our other cemeteries. And Wausau's done a really great job with all of that. So we're pleased to be part of this program. We're looking forward to being with the other finalists, and just remembering to celebrate everything that we all do together, and know that it's not always an easy journey, but we all can do the best we can and give back to the communities in ways that we probably didn't think we could.
Great. Well, thank you. We appreciate those kind words. The Small Business of the Year Awards is going to be held on Thursday, April 13th at the Hilton Garden Inn, late in the afternoon. We have a pair of MCs from WAOW's morning show that will be there to sort of unveil the recipients, along with a lot of previous recipients. Something new that we're offering this year is we have a Walk of Winners display, which is going to highlight a bunch of the previous winners of the Small Business of the Year Award. So that's going to be interesting. That display will also be out there at the expo. The business expo will be held the following Thursday on April 20th out at the Convention and Expo Center. And if you've been to that before, you understand the size of that event. It's the largest, as far as I can tell, it's the largest chamber expo in the US. And so we're proud of that. We'll have more than 260 booths that are already signed up, and we expect it's going to be a a capacity show. So so that's coming up on that Thursday, the 20th, and then that'll be followed by the Fun at Expo networking event. Across the street at Stony Creek, we've got about 14 members that'll be out there with food and refreshments, and that goes from 5:30 to 8 p.m. So there's more details on all those programs on wausauchamber.com. Business Month really kicks off. It kicks off with these interviews, but in terms of programming, it kicks off tomorrow with an event in which we're going to sort of have a few speakers talk about the legislative agenda that our advocacy arm of the chamber is working on. And so that program will be held at UWSP at Wausau tomorrow afternoon. So I encourage you to attend that. That's free. And so, you know, again, Heather, Christie, thank you. We look forward to seeing you next week at the Small Business of the Year Awards. It's always a fun event, and good luck.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, have
See
a
you,
great
Heather.
rest of the day. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.